And here we go.
Welcome to the Great Work Insights Podcast by the O.C. Tanner Institute, the show that features the people, the professionals, the thought leaders, and the coolest companies. And now your host, the man navigating the discussion about the culture, the organized chaos, and the best practices that compel great work, Todd Nordstrom.
I'm going to do something today that I never, ever thought I would do on this podcast. I'm actually going to talk about politics and some religion. The reason I'm going to talk today, as opposed to any other day, is because I'm positive that if I share my views, my research, and my logic, many of you will agree with me, and maybe a few of you will hate me. Because, isn't it true that if I make a good argument, give you a good rant, and share my passionate plea for you to believe the same things I do, I can pretty much guarantee you'll agree with me? Let's be honest. If you don't agree with me, well, quite frankly, you're just plain wrong. Uncomfortable, isn't it? Any of those words sound familiar? Did I just sound like anyone you know recently? Of course, we all think we're right about what we believe politically or religiously. Otherwise, we wouldn't believe it. And of course, we all have different reasons for believing the way we do. We all come from different places and we've lived through different experiences. It's no secret to any of us that our country, the United States of America, is at most likely the most debated political cleavage point of all time. I can hop onto Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn and watch people debating all day long. In fact, the word debate might be too soft to explain what's happening on social media. I've actually seen people ask anyone who disagrees with their political stance to unfriend them. That's basically saying, I want to forget you exist if you disagree with me. And then I've seen some of these same people, the ones who cut out anyone who disagrees with them, they actually have the nerve to call the people they cut off small-minded. And I'm not just talking about one party or one side of the aisle. It's happening on both. Of course, religion is also a topic that can quickly divide people. Since the earliest civilizations and still today, wars are fought over differing religious beliefs. Here's the thing, though. We all have to work with people who believe differently than we do. And here's my dilemma and my question as I've been thinking about this recently. Although I believe everyone has the right to speak their mind and believe in whatever they want, what are leaders and managers at work supposed to do with people's personal political rants, both at work and online? Where is the line that separates freedom of speech from belief bullying? And how should companies handle an employee's overzealous social media opinion? We all have the right to say anything we want to the world through social media, right? But what if what we say somehow impacts the organization we work for? What if my freedom of speech somehow creates a toxic environment with my team, or makes customers of my company angry enough to stop doing business, or impacts the brand of my organization? Our guest today can definitely shed some light on this topic. Sonia Johnson is the executive president and founder of the Society for Employee Relations. She specializes in employee relations, labor relations, human resources, and dispute resolution. Sonia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Todd.
Sonia, your list of credentials is impressive, doesn't even describe it. There's so many letters after your name. You have 3 law degrees and the highest level of human resources certification. Just for listeners' clarity, tell us what the Society for Employee Relations is and what it does.
Okay, thank you. The Society for Employee Relations, we provide modern human resources, employee relations, compliance, and dispute resolution to individuals and organizations. Our focus is on creating effective connection between employees and organizational goals so that human resources and employee relations departments can provide, measurable financial growth, great and vibrant cultures for employees to thrive, for employees to, also grow and profit. Let me just say something real quick. One of the reasons why we formed our organization, which is a nonprofit organization, is that because of the backgrounds that my colleagues and I have, we have JDs, we have degrees. For example, I have the JD, just as you described, the degrees, degrees and higher learning, higher certification in a variety of areas. We tend to be hired by the blue chip organizations. And about 10 years after working for the blue chip organizations, we decided that we're going to provide our services to not only blue chip organizations, but individuals as well. So we provide services to individuals and organizations in the Society for Employee Relations.
Cool. Sonia, I visited your site, and I suggest everyone listening to this do it. We could spend hours chatting about a whole variety of topics, categories, but I'm really interested in something that is not often talked about in the workplace, but probably often thought about. Maybe you hear about it all the time. I want to talk about the people in the workplace who are blunt about their political and or religious beliefs. Right now, I think political would be more on par. Are various beliefs something that are good for an organization or bad? Does it depend on the specific organization? And do you hear about this a lot?
Yes. One of my view, I wrote an article on LinkedIn about this. My view and my findings are that there is an existing zeitgeist that religion and politics should not be discussed in the workplace. I've searched and I've done a lot of research over the years on this issue, and I find out that it's basically cultural, where there's a belief system that when it comes to religion and politics, people have no control. But this is not supported by people's behavior when it comes to highly charged issues as well, like sports. And, other areas where people have different, very strong affiliations. So I believe that any organization can have discussions and should allow discussions on politics and religion. What they should focus on is the how. How is it done and not the what? Because it creates, encouraging people to talk about religion and politics creates cognitive diversity and cultural diversity. And we all know, I'm sure, that when we encourage diversity in the workplace, it leads to greater creativity, it leads to greater financial outcomes, it just makes the workplace better. And those discussions also enable people to get rid of untested assumptions about fellow employees. And I'll add this also, I was talking to you a little bit before we started this, we just had a 55% increase in disputes in the past 3 months since the political season went to full gear. And the disputes that we resolve are not based on politics. But when we dig deeper, we find out that the undercurrent are political views that are unexpressed and that are assumed by employees about one another or about their supervisors. So I believe all and any company should permit employees discuss these issues in a civil manner, abiding to the normal respect in the workplace parameters.
It's tough, though. It's like when you talk about diversity and the welcoming of different perceptions and experiences and backgrounds and whatnot, I think we all can get on board with that. But it's difficult, especially when it boils down to a choice between what's perceived as one of two people. And do you think that's where the divide comes even bigger?
I don't necessarily think so, and I'll give you an example.
Okay.
What we found when we dug deeper, and I'll use a particular client of mine whose permission I received before this podcast. Mm-hmm. He's of Mexican descent, and he had the opinion that his supervisor, because he belonged to a different party in which our client, an individual, believed that because his supervisor belonged to that particular party, he therefore believed that he, as a Mexican, was not a good person. The initial issue that we're called on to discuss was just a consistent difference and just problems with assignments which this employee had done in the past. But suddenly he now had he had issues with his shift, he had issues with the way he was spoken to. There were a lot of things, and those of us who work in dispute resolution recognize that a lot of times things are not what they seem. Digging deeper, we found out that untested assumption could have easily been addressed if the ideas were discussed and not necessarily the personalities. If the manager had an opportunity to say, I believe in this party, and I believe in what this candidate is offering. However, I don't agree with such and such. Mm-hmm. I think that the situation would not have gone as far as it did because it was reported to an agency, and we had to intervene really quickly to diffuse tension and to make sure that the company, did not have to go to court and all of that. But the undercurrent that is not addressed, that could actually be used in a positive way, is what we're talking about here. We need to allow people, in this example that I had given, had they discussed it, had they discussed the political views and our client, who's of Mexican descent, if he had an opportunity to discuss this with his boss, his supervisor, the constant bickering and explosive disagreements would never have occurred.
I love that because it's so basically more discussion. We're kind of fearing the discussion, but actually more discussion would have helped the situation. Let's go back to your point earlier of not talking about the what, but the how. If mm-hmm. I'm in an office place, and when I say how to discuss it, if I'm working in an office place and there's tension because these assumptions are being created and we all feel like we're not supposed to talk about it at work. However, there are some people that are very open and blunt about it. If I'm a manager, what do I do? If I feel like one employee is uncomfortable or one employee is being too vocal or somebody's not being vocal enough, what is the right strategy?
Well, there are two issues here. If a person is being vocal about a particular religious issue or a particular political issue with a group of people, and that's not the core reason why they're in concert, discussing that particular principle related to terms and conditions of their workplace. It's protected under the law and also under the National Labor Relations Act. So what the manager can do is to go and address it. And, I would hope that most companies have respect in the workplace policies, in their policies and procedures manual. And, the managers can use that and address it and make sure that, that it's civilly done. Mm-hmm. However, if it is an individual that is just, saying, just talking about things that are totally unrelated to conditions of work or business and is creating a hostile environment or a problematic issue, then that should be addressed as quickly as possible. And it should be addressed by, having a discussion, referring the employee to policies. And if it is a group of employees and they continue on that line, it could create a hostile environment, and that's when they contact us and we'll give them the guidance and the tools and the services to make sure that it doesn't become a bigger issue than just a political discourse.
What about, let's flip this around for a second. What about if I'm an employee and I'm working for a company who my leader, maybe it's the very top, maybe it's my direct supervisor, is very vocal. And I may or may not disagree, but I'm feeling pressured to one side or the other, or to believe something that maybe isn't me. What do I do?
Well, it depends. First of all, if the leader is doing this at the behest of the organization, then that is permitted based on the Citizens United ruling of 2010. Employers are actually allowed to to share their political opinions with their employees. And I know this is going to come as a surprise to a lot of people, but an employer can actually have you mandate that you participate in an advertisement for a political party, a political group. It's permitted by Citizens United. However, if a manager is, addressing political issues in a consistent manner that makes an employee uncomfortable, the employee has to make it known that that's the issue, that is an issue. And that manager, if the manager has received adequate training, should stop that sort of political, I would say, consistent or aggressive or unwelcome political discourse that makes the environment culturally toxic or hostile. And if it continues, I would suggest that they address it with the Human Resources Department. Most of these issues can be addressed through proper customized training because it differs from organization to organization.
Let me bring up something that is new, or fairly new at least, to this whole situation. Social media. It's a tough question because, yes, we all have the right to say whatever we want on our personal social media accounts. What do leaders do if an employee is somehow impacting their brand, or how do you have that discussion?
First of all, the first step every company should take based on the new environment that we have, and this is new human resources, this old human resources is dead, the most critical point, an employee must have a social media policy. And every social media policy should be customized to the needs of the particular company. We assist companies in doing that. So if an employee is on social media and it's just having discussions with other employees of that same organization and the political, whatever discussion it is that affects the company, as it were, forms part of a larger discourse about, their well-being, working conditions, salary, and so on and so forth. Such speech is protected. However, if an employee now starts saying things that could affect the company's business and cause the company to lose money, averse to the company's business interests, case law abounds where the company can terminate that employee. So there's a limit to such speech. Yes, you can say the things that you want to say. However, if it does affect your employer's business in a way that is very negative and the employer can show that your communication is affecting its business adversely, then such an employee could be terminated.
That's interesting. So we should all watch a little bit, or at least be mindful of what we're posting online. Fascinating discussion, Sonia. I know a lot of listeners would be interested in learning more about you and the work that the Society for I keep saying that, don't I? For Employee Relations does. And by looking at your site, I can see that I can become a member as well. What does membership do for me?
Well, as a member, you have, we give you full service, human resources, employee relations, the whole full gamut of human resources and employee relations, labor relations services. As a member, you get a 30-minute free consultation from us. You also get 7 other services during the course of the year. We have 2 types of members. We have individual and corporate members. And our corporate members get the same thing in the sense that they have 33 minutes of consultation with us. We also would provide them 7 additional services just based on their membership fees alone. In addition, we also offer a lot of free training to our members. And it's very important for us to point out that everything that we provide to both individual and organizational members are customized. And when I'm talking about our individual members, unlike organizations like the Society for Human Resources Management and other companies, what we do is that we help individuals on a day-to-day basis handle any issue that deals with their employment in their workplace. We help them handle it. We help them with their career. We help them handle difficult bosses. We help them chart a career path and so on. So it's not just a matter of coming to a site and getting some information. We actually talk with you and we customize it for individuals, and we do the same thing. We customize everything we have as well for companies using analytical and the best and the latest people-based business processes and strategies.
That's interesting. So if I'm an employee and let's say I'm working in a job and struggling with my boss,
Yes.
I could call and get advice on how to handle the situation.
Absolutely, yes. And you talk to a real person. We have our consultants who will address that situation and tell you how best to handle it, so that you don't lose your job or so that you can get the promotion you want. That's how we really differ from a lot of other organizations. So we'll help you, enable you to handle that situation, and we'll tell you how best to best use it. Yes, we do that.
Fantastic. Sonia, if people want to learn more about you, what your best place to find you, your website?
Yes. Our website is www.societyforemployeerelations.com. Or you can send an email to us at services@employeerelations.com. And you can also call us if you want to. That would be wonderful. Our phone number is 202-681-0150. Again, it's 202-681-0150. But visit our website, www.societyforemployeerelations.com, and we'll be more than happy to contact you if you fill out our contact form on the site.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to be featured as a guest on Great Work Insights? If yes, we want to hear from you. Leave us a comment with who you are and what you're all about at www.octanner.com. Also, remember to rate, review, and subscribe to all our podcasts on iTunes. Now get out there and build something beautiful. It's your turn now.